please introduce yourself, name and pronouns, and your position in the pole culture, and yeah, the spaces you're in.
Yeah. So I am Zahra. Pronouns are she, her, they, and that bitch.
Hey.
I have a lot of different hats in the pole community. I'm a pole instructor. I also own and operate Queer Femme parties, and I'm also just a mentor for anybody trying to liberate their spirit.
All right, let's start with the first part,
Yeah.
which is about you. So how did you become interested in pole dancing? Explain your journey and what space you first introduced to and how it changed over time.
Yeah, I was introduced out of the necessity of survival. I'm a former foster youth. I'm formerly incarcerated. Didn't really have any family when I came out here, and I had to find a way to survive. I've always been a dancer since I was younger. Tap, jazz, ballet, contemporary dance, African, step, even crump back in the day. But I found the sport, or the art of stripping, should I say. The introduction was terrifying. It was extremely terrifying. Understanding that you are using your body as a means to make money, but if you are not connected to self, you lose yourself very quickly. And I didn't realize that I had put myself in an environment that I was completely unaware of how to navigate. I had no mentor, nobody to kind of take me along and learn the ropes. It was pretty much like, you're a fish in the sea, go ahead and pretty much swim or drown for the most part. Yeah.
Wow, I was literally about to ask, like, did you have someone that was leading you through the space?
I wish. I truly wish. I probably would have thought smarter. I probably would have taken the time to ground myself, and then also realize that the idea of this is just a stepping stone. This isn't just the bottom line. This is you learning and navigating the system, but you can become something different. I have people now that own their own pole studios. I have people who are former strippers and now teaching other people how to learn how to strip, but also the business side of it, how to maneuver and how to navigate to protect yourself and to make sure that you are the prize that they are then searching for. So I wish I had a mentor back in the day.
Yeah. So how do you think pole dancing has changed you as a person?
Woo, baby. I don't know who I would be, honestly. And as I'll tell you this, I will go through a lot of different emotions of this because I've never had anybody really take the time to get to know me and to really just sit down and ask me how I developed into this person. It's given me my confidence. It's given me my power. It's helped me understand my masculine and feminine sides. It's given me peace, and it's given me community. It's so many different things that it's given me, and I didn't realize this because it was just something for me. It was just something that I needed to kind of make money, make ends meet, pay the rent, and go home, and that was it. I didn't know there was another aspect of this that it turned into a sport. And luckily I found Atomic Allure. That was the first place that I went, and I saw, there are other beautiful women and men and non-binary and trans and queer Black people like me, and you can actually learn how to do this. So I got better at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to kind of highlight what you said a little bit before about gender. Can you kind of go into that further? I think that's really interesting that you said both masculine and feminine, since pole is kind of more known to be more of a feminine aspect, but can you touch upon it?
Yeah, kind of like I was telling you before, pole in the beginning, I saw it as very much like sensual and sexy. I was a tomboy. From the day I came out my mom's womb, I liked baggy clothes, I liked to play in the mud. I never associate anything even with like the colors or the things and the activities that I did as far as like a gender role. That kind of came out of when people noticed my physique and my figure. I was automatically put in, oh, you must be trans, you must be a man. I was never really given space to just be me. It was always people trying to put you into categories. So as I noticed, once I got into like bodybuilding and really developing my body, people did not want to be around my physique. It was not put out because when you say the idea of sensuality, I didn't perceive myself as a sensual being. I perceived myself as a masculine presenting, strong bitch of a woman. And that's exactly who I was. I didn't want to have to feel like I had to get smaller or I had to, put on a fake wig to kind of fit in whatever that mainstream image was. I was always I was a stubborn stripper. I was like, I'm going to show up in my afro. I'm going to show up with like barely any makeup and I'm going to whoop everybody else's ass in there. because I love who I am. The strength is what makes me first. The strength is how you get up on the pole. So how can I sit there and say I'm not gonna own the masculine and the feminine sides of me? Testosterone is pumping through my body when I am working out.
Hell yeah.
So testosterone is the foundation to me. Femininity is what you see on the outside. But know that I walk into claiming both masculine and feminine because that's who I am. And finding the alignment of pole dancing. Pole dancing is what gave me the idea to be like, okay, you can be two in one. You don't ever have to choose. You can show up in the way that you need to. And I feel like that's honestly why you see this pole dancing environment where you see so many people in trans communities saying, this is for me. Yeah, the fuck it is. If you have a body and you want to move and you want to explore, explore it. But it does, I will tell you, it gets harder and harder. I get more and more shredded, and I'm still trying to navigate how do I show up in these different environments, because I'm looking at what they put out as the standard, as the sensual, the Barbie doll. And I'm like, if I could show you photos, and I will even send you some for your project. I used to wear lace fronts. I used to have the big eyelashes. I used to have the false nails. You would never see me in the same outfit. I thought I had to maneuver myself to fit an image, and I hated myself. I was getting money and I was surviving, but I didn't love myself. Now I could walk in with a t-shirt and a baseball cap. Baby, you won't see something out of me that you've never seen before because I'm owning myself.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Yeah. Man, gender is such a difficult and complicated thing, but I feel like with pole though, so many people can attribute pole to be like self-discovery and a way to really tap into that.
Reconnect and find yourself. That's the whole process of just any form of movement. It's just people are so weird to put yourself in a category, but you walk into pole, there's no category. It is just you, it is the pole, and it is you connecting with yourself. You want to walk in one day, very masculine presenting, great. You want to walk in feminine, you want to mix them together, that's perfectly fine. And that's honestly the only space I've ever found to do that. Because all other sports, it's like girls team, guys team, you know, and it's you have to like physically separate them. But I was always the strong girl with ripped muscles, whooping all the guys, and they didn't like it. But here's the thing, they were still so gentle with me. Don't run into her, don't touch her. And I'm flag football, and I'm knocking them left and right and having a good time because I don't see gender. You see gender. I see strength. I see power. So when you just take away the ideas of gender and really just see a person for a person, that's it. You've got pole dancing.
I'm kind of dabbling already in a question that I wrote, so I'll go to that one first.
Okay.
But how do you see your identity interacting with pole culture, but then also the subculture of stripping?
I'm still trying to navigate it. To be very honest. I feel lost kind of most of the time because we are the blueprint, but the blueprint is disappearing. So
can you go further? Who's the blueprint?
Yeah, black women. Black women are the blueprint. Thank you. Yes, we are the motherfucking blueprint. But being the blueprint and not seeing yourself as a representation, you don't know how to show up as a black woman anymore. You start to categorize yourself and kind of whitewash yourself to feel safe. So when for instance, when I go and apply to a studio, I struggle with the application. There's information about, do you have any certifications? Oh, girl, I got certifications off the wazoo. Who do you represent? Sex workers. That's the one word that people get uncomfortable with. They'll look at every single one of my credentials. Oh, she's, boxing, strength training, yoga, nutrition, physical, whatever, mentor, life coach. Great. Sex work. We're not going to have you. Wait a second. So if you're not going to have me, but you're going to open up a pole studio and not have the root to what's actually created for this art, I'm very confused. So in moments, I will be very honest, I have found safety in Atomic Allure. Anytime I branch out and something disrupts my energy, I go back to black because black is safe. And that's the one space that I walk into every single day. I don't have to think of it. I turn the lights on like I turn the lights on in my house. I go and I wash my hands like I'm in my bathroom. And I see it and I feel that energy. So it's very hard to navigate. I'm still struggling to figure it out day by day, but with allies by my side, making room for me to speak, that's why within a moment when you hit me up, let's do this. Let's do it. This is the universe telling me this is my time to speak about it, and I didn't know how to get it out there on my own. We need community to then re-bridge these things. That's why there's so much separation. That's why people are saying, if you're not going to love and protect sex workers, then you can't love this art. You can't.
You can't separate it.
You can't separate the two. And that's what we do as society. We separate it and take the roots out of it so deeply that when the roots come to take the same art, we're like, and why are we feeling anxious? This is what we created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your studio, you mentioned it, I'm pretty sure a few times.
Yeah.
Could you explain a little
bit? Yes. So Atomic Allure, it's actually been there for 13 years over there in downtown Oakland. It's right above level 13. It has BIPOC, it has trans, it has gay, it has straight, it has black. It has everything that you could possibly find in that space. We don't do our system as far as levels. So what I mean by levels is there's no L1, L2, L3, L4, because that is not the foundation of stripping, of the art of dance and pole dancing. It is come in, explore, come in, express, come in and fail, come in and cry, come in and find power, come in and find community. That's it. And that's the one place where I see so many people coming in consistently, years after years, and the prices are extremely affordable. That's also the other part. If it is not affordable for the people it was intended for, you've done the exact job of what society wants. You've excluded us.
Yep. Yeah.
We need a safe space represented by our own people, and it has to be affordable.
Exactly.
Or you've done a great job of stripping the essence of it. Yeah.
You can't even or
it's harder like that though.
Exactly. That's exactly the word I was going to use. Where the system is everywhere, and everything you have to do, you have to unlearn. And even you saying we don't even use L1, L2. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. After you explain, I'm like, wait, yeah,
you're
exactly.
What is a level to self-exploration of your body?
Exactly.
So if you can't meet an L2, I'm supposed to come and tell you that you're not qualified enough? How horrible is that for you finding a place and saying, I'm a mom after giving birth, I've been out of my body for 9 years, and then the first time you take a pole class, the instructor tells you that you're not good enough and you gotta go back down a level.
Shaming, yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not a service. I think people are forgetting the fact that this is not just a service. It's an art and a service to you. So if you just look at it as a service, there's only a dollar amount attached to it. So I don't look at you like you're a human being. I don't look at you like you don't have other stuff that are affecting you before you even walk into my studio. And I'm taking accountability to all of that. So when I say on the mass scale, pole dancers are healers. So we absorb all the energy that you're dealing with, and we're supposed to put what you need. Not what we need, and not what the idea of what pole is, because you can show up feeling sexy some days, you can show up feeling really icky some days, really sad some days, and I've even told my students, don't force yourself to show up sexy, because it's been shown as a mainstream sexy and slutty and confidence. That takes years to get to. You have to strip yourself down, cry in the studio, struggle to find yourself, and then this year of a phoenix will come out. And I've seen it in so many of my students. And it's dope to see that. To be like, you didn't know what this was going to be. And now look at you, you're an instructor teaching other people to heal.
Quote that.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on now. I'm telling you. Yeah. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah. I really like that you post as well. You showing yourself in a very vulnerable way of you know what? I'm pole dancing for myself.
Yep.
I'm not trying to make it look a certain way.
Yep.
I'm exploring myself.
That's real.
And that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
I actually did that.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I think all you see on the internet is perfection. But it's
I
have videos of me falling on my face. I have videos of me really struggling with certain moves. I have videos where I'm just in the space and I'm just meditating. Really be transparent with people. Not everything needs to be edited. Make it raw, make it uncut, because the people who are looking for raw and uncut, there's 1,000 of those people waiting.
Yeah.
There's so many less people who are just looking for perfection. People need to connect with you. And the more that you can actually talk to people and explain the journey, for instance, the last video that I posted, how to support Black women in the pole community. Hit. Everybody was on that. And all my Black sisters, yes, Zahra, speak for it. And I was like, oh, y'all was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can get louder behind this. But if someone's not going to be bold enough to be like, you know what? much like the PSO instance, if you're not going to be the one to take the stand, don't bitch about it. Don't bitch about it. Really be vulnerable like our ancestors. Put yourself out there. It takes one to lead a revolution.
Exactly.
It takes one. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. When navigating all these subcultures of the pole community, for example, different dance styles, fitness related work, sex work, all these aspects of pole culture, what relationships do you see, like, of these cultures kind of interacting with each other?
Yeah.
How do you think each group interacts? Oh yeah, I already said that. And what are the perspectives they have on one another, and how does it affect you as well?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest relationship is the art of just pole dancing and the fitness world. Being a personal trainer, it's also very conflicting because a piece of me is saying, okay, so if you're now making this a fitness sport, so does that mean then you have to be a personal trainer to actually understand the anatomy of someone's body, so then for they can understand how to actually progress and degress? Like, is it really just fitness? Is that what it is? Is the bottom foundation? Or is it you using this art to actually create dance and then put the sexuality and masculinity and femininity behind it? Are you struggling to then put those together? So back to the pole and the fitness side of it, I get that. I can see where the connection is. It is a physical sport, but let's also not make it gymnastics. Okay? Yeah. Let's get into this, all right? People come to me all the time. That foundation has actually hurt me and put me in so much of a box that I struggle. I'm not a gymnast.
Yeah.
I'm a pole instructor. I'm a former stripper. I'm a bodybuilder on the side. Gymnastics is a whole different foundation to your body. It takes years to train to do certain things with your body. So when students come to me and they're like, oh yeah, backwards aerial flip, da da da, and I'm like, no, like, I'm not a gymnast. But then I go home and I do sit home at night and I start watching videos and I start putting myself up against what is already out there. But then I look at it and I said, Zahra, those aren't your bodies. Those aren't your people. So step back into it, and I will go back to look at girls out in Miami, girls out in Atlanta, girls out in Texas, where the poles don't move. That's where I can go back and look to say, oh, okay, so I can do some of those things, but all the other stuff is very much gymnast based. And that's where the colonization of pole comes from, because you do have a lot of Russian and Yugoslavian people coming out here teaching these classes, but they were built as gymnasts. Their training is unimaginable. And if I had someone to pay for that training, sign me up by all means. But that's not the foundation to 95% of human beings' bodies. So when you go into these forms and you see pole dancing and you see level 3, level 4, level 5, and people are like, you see less and less of us. Number one, we're built different. We're thicker than most of y'all. We have different physiques on our bodies. So if we don't even have our own representation in there, then most of us aren't going to be there. So you slowly start to see pole competitions with none of us in there. But it's our art. But there's no categorization that says black art, or they have to put it as like stripper show or something, or night star, something that signifies it's like after hours.
Yes.
And I'm like, why do you have to put it as after hours? Why can't it just be another category without specifically being like, this is for you black people. We're gonna make sure that we're inclusive, because that's how it feels. So that first interaction between each other is the hardest thing to kind of navigate, because you're consistently putting more sport into it and taking away dance. Yeah. Dance is the foundation of it. So we have to understand, how do we get back to the roots of the dance behind it? Yes, it's always going to be a physical sport, and you do need instructors to understand the anatomy of the body to make sure you don't get hurt. But don't declassify somebody if they can't get a move. You have to be gentle, especially in a tricks class. You could hurt somebody's ego and confidence where they can't move anymore because they tried to do a trick that their body wasn't ready for. With the right conditioning, they can actually do that. But you have to be careful in that area, because then you can hurt other people in the area of them just doing dance, free dance, choreography, low flow. Because that one interaction, You've put such a high standard to say, this is pole dancing, and I'll be the one to be like, here's a YouTube video. This is actually pole dancing. This is just a different form that has been recreated and colonized to call it as pole dancing.
Yep.
And we're still trying to figure out how to get through these because it's slowly starting to disappear every single day. But then the funniest thing is everybody's dancing to black music.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make no sense. But here's the thing that I'm seeing. You're actually not really dancing to black music. You're dancing over it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. Dancing over it is, I'm just going to put on Kendrick Lamar, Peekaboo, because it's the hottest song out right now. And I'm going to use that voice to amplify and exploit it and not even connect to the people that you're really trying to get to. But guess what? Us black people are going to look because the algorithm's going to push it to our page because it's a black artist. So if you, the way that I described it, if you are dancing over the music and you're not black and you're just posting that music, you're just being a businesswoman at the end of the day, or a business person, should I say, and you're just pushing through the algorithm. But you're not connecting to the people that are also listening to Peekaboo. There are words and lyrics in us, in that song, specifically for us.
Yes.
But as long as we show that we're inclusive by using black music, we're diverse.
Yeah.
But we're not there. We're not represented in your community. So it's very hard. It's like you can continue to use us, but you also very quickly know that our existence is not wanted in your areas.
Yes. I like how you use that word.
Yeah.
Dancing over the music.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's a perfect way to say it.
It's like taking, I'll give you a good example. Yeah. It's like doing contemporary dance to like Peekaboo by Kendrick Lamar. That is the best way to describe it. You're like, peekaboo, tra-la-la, tra-la-la, peekaboo, tra-la-la. Like, and we're just like, what the fuck? You can't connect to it. And the first people that it was made for, we're looking at it like, what is this?
Yeah.
But that's crazy because your pole studio is packed. Okay, cool. The same thing could be said about twerk. Same thing could be said about steps. Same thing could be said about jazz, contemporary dance, burlesque. Like, it goes on and on. But then we're also the ones in the wrong for then being like, well, that doesn't look right. Why are we in the wrong? But it's the foundation of our movement. But then there's no room for us to recorrect you and to show you actually what this movement should feel and look like. And feel is the biggest thing. You can twerk, but you can be disconnected from your twerk. When we twerk, we're connected to our yonis, we're connected to our ancestors, we're connected to any trauma that has also happened down there. So it's a different and rooted ancestral understanding that I don't think a lot of people give a space to even talk about.
Could you go further right now?
Yeah,
I would love to know.
Yeah. So initially, as you see my Instagram, I stepped away from just posting the videos and I said, it's not enough because I need people to actually understand our experience as it is. So showing up in this world as a black dancer is extremely hard. A lot of people see that, oh, you know, she's getting booked at all these different gigs and, you know, she's flourishing, but a lot of it is really saying, some of the times, accepting a no. We get no's more than we get yeses because there is, I'll give you this example, certain places will book me and I see in the link, there is no nigga bombs. If the words, if the lyrics say the word nigga in it, we can't dance to it. Wait a minute.
Oh, there you
go. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me, and I'm going through my list of songs, and I'm like, damn. Oh, okay. I don't even, they're suggesting it, but damn, like I'm struggling to find my own music because you have stripped me of my own culture.
Yep.
Like, what are you talking about? I am completely confused as to why I can't show up because it's like, for instance, you can't have your booty out. It's too much. What? How am I supposed to hide my figure? This is my body. This is from my ancestors. Oh, you have to change the song. It's too much. Just say it's too black. It's all this like, let's water it down. Yeah, just tell me exactly what it is because at the end of the day, I have more respect for you. I have way more respect for you versus you tiptoeing around me and making it appropriate in those moments. We're still going through it till this day. It is extremely hard. Yeah. I know it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. You know, I wish more people would use their poll pages not to just use the talent and to actually explore the art, but to speak behind it. You know, if you talk about it, you know, you don't have to feel shunned. Your voice is very, very valuable, and you might have something that someone needs to actually hear. I think that's the biggest thing, where I start to dig into deeper as being like an activist, whether it's personal training, whether it's within my mentorship with my kids, whether it's in pole dancing. It's like, speak to people. Because if not, what you do is, for instance, I could post a video of me pole dancing, and I could wear a traditional stripper outfit where yoni, everything is out. Okay, I'm pretty much borderline naked. If I show just a video, I'm sexualized, I'm fantasized, and I'm probably ready for someone to try to exploit that image. But if you hear my voice over it, and I talk to you about what I'm feeling in that very moment, why I connect to this art right now, and how the world perceives me, and how I don't give a fuck, you've got a way bigger audience. It's no more just, I'm going to create my narrative about you. And I think that's what I was irritated about. People are creating this narrative about us, and you cannot do that without hearing from us. Yeah. And let alone, I would even tell you, go and talk to a woman that is a light-skinned black woman. Light-skinned black women deal with different things than dark-skinned black women do. Colorism is even within our own community, and that's the hardest part. As a darker-skinned woman, I don't see me anywhere. I have to search for me. Yeah. And if they are, they're not in this area for sure. They're down south, where we all are from. Yeah. So it's hard to even find just a representation. And it's not, I'm not just trying to find a dark-skinned black woman. I want to find a strong black woman. I want someone that looks like me, where I'm like, holy shit, that is fucking badass. Like, that is acceptable. Show up for yourself. I've been that person for myself for years. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yeah. It is physically exhausting. And half the time, like, I've had people, even with my own community, who are black, truly not understand that. Because it is harder to become uncomfortable than to stay comfortable. I'm willing to make myself uncomfortable. I'm willing to even lose people who I thought really ride by me, because I need people to really understand this is a real revolution. We are taking back our bodies, our art, and our spirits through communicating with you. The more we talk to you, the more you actually hear what we have to actually explain, how we've gone through these situations and survived these last couple of years. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like that you explained, like, your intentionality with how you, like, present yourself on social media. I want to say it's a dichotomy, though, because in a sense, because of being black, you have to, like, put yourself out there and explain and give yourself humanity.
So deep just now. So deep. And I think a piece of it is also giving myself time to just not show up for anybody but myself.
Yes, of
because
course.
I'm exhausted half the time. It was a video on Instagram, and it was like, if you could tell black women, you know, what would it be so we can stop solving the world's problems?
Yeah.
For real. Like, it doesn't have to be our issue. And I think because we have so many issues to focus on outside of the world, when we talk about us, it's hard because we've never been given space to just talk about what's directly affecting black women. Fuck what the rest of the world thinks that you guys are dealing with. What are you dealing with on a daily basis? And it could be something as something small. My black sisters don't smile to us anymore because we're disconnected. There's been a fear put in our own people. It could be the smallest things, but it's a day-to-day battle.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that.
Of course, seriously. Yeah.
This is exactly what we need. We need to hear your voice specifically, and people who are marginalized in this space specifically. Like you said, people with darker skin, even like if they're black or like indigenous, just even the category of your skin color just changes your whole world.
Very much so. And I think that's actually really beautiful that you bring that up, because I have like an Indian friend almost as dark as me and gets discriminated all the time. It gets confused for black all the time, because in a lot of cultures, every single race has a hierarchy. The darker the skin, the lower on the totem pole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can see the same thing.
Ooh, I know some people gonna come when they hear that. Because ain't that the truth right there? Just showing up and being like, I just want to be me, perceived as me. I don't have to change me.
Yeah. And then just because of just your appearance, you have to, even though what you're saying, like in your post,
right,
so important, and also such a important detail, but at the same time, in a sense, you're kind of forced to because already your humanity is just being stripped.
Yep.
But I really appreciate that you are able to explain and like have true intention to really show like this is me, this is who I am,
right,
and you guys should know that immediately.
Right,
and
right.
That's
and I think even just, you know, you bring up a good topic, even just knowing that, being okay with saying no. If somebody books you for like an art, whatever it is that you put yourself in that art form, it's okay to say no. I won't dress up like a clown. That shit goes so deep to my ancestors. We dressed up as minstrels to literally entertain white people. You will never see me dress up as a clown. So or if there's any rope play involved, I'm not doing that. It's a trigger. Like there are certain things that I even have gone through this industry and be like, oh, I'm actually not okay with that. Like that's gonna have to take time. Like even just the ability of being able to just walk out with nipple tassels on took me years to get to that point. That is extremely hard because you're coming from the strip club. It's dark. It's dingy. Can't nobody really see you up in that thing. And now you're putting me on a mainstream stage.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's too much showing here. There's too much like I want to cover up. So it was interesting even being able to just navigate that to be like, oh, I'm okay being sexy and slutty and yes, you know you want me but you can't have me. And then to be into like getting more into the pole performance and still thinking I could hold that energy, but there wasn't space for that energy. There's only a couple companies that I deal with, even especially in San Francisco, who have been huge supporters of that. To be like, show up, this is the way you're gonna show up. We're not putting you with any type of category, we're not putting any narrative. You don't have to dress up in this and that. What is you? Here's the theme and play. I was like, cool. So actually even my favorite performance, and I would give a shout out to Hubba Bubba Review, okay, owned by Jim, because Jim, you my dog. When I performed last week during Black History Month to James Brown.
Yes.
That was the best performance I had ever done.
I'm so glad.
Because I felt it. I walked out and every single beat, tone, pitch, I remember myself sitting there in my dad's office with a cassette player, okay, listening to James Brown. And all of these like really strong, powerful memories came on. I had my black afro on, I had a nice sequin dress, like I could feel James Brown in my spirit. And I go, this is what I've been waiting for. Like, I'm not scared to walk out on these stages. The only reason I was ever scared is because I put myself up on what the narrative of pole dancing was. I never thought that when I was in the strip club. I want to make some money.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I care? I don't care if my track is hanging out my head. Like, I really don't care. I'm in there to hustle. The standards, there were no standards. It was just show up and be a black girl. Shake your ass. Make some money. Go home. Versus now, it's like, oh, you need to perform. You need to show up in this way and that way. So I had to figure out, how do I involve myself in pole theater, but still hold true to stripping?
Yeah.
So I slut the fuck out on stage, on any stage that I'm at, period. And the crowd goes wild. And I'm glad that I held on to that because I know people who have come also from that industry and they've completely changed. And that's probably even harder because you're using this as like a profession, and as it gets prettier and prettier on main stage, for instance, you could look at like artists like Snoop Dogg. He's had a lot of artists out there. But even myself, when I went to go submit an application, I looked at all the girls and I said, my nails aren't done. My toes aren't done like that. I don't know if my hair is acceptable. Can I get it done fast enough? Because I have locks. Like, can I afford the outfits that they have? Like, I'm shopping on all these other half price, sites. Like, you really start to categorize yourself because of what the standard is. The standard should always be us. Doesn't matter what body size, doesn't matter what color of blackness that you have, it needs to be us. So I get excited when I see representation because we're losing it. We are losing it. I've been around here 2018 and dancing since 2016, stripping, and I don't see a lot of black instructors. There's a lot in LA, but I don't see a lot out here. So it's hard to find that representation. So when I do find spaces like Atomic Allure, I cling on to those people because I'm like, I need you. Like, I constantly even reach out to my sisters to say, like, You're the reason why I feel powerful. You're the reason why I feel slutted. You're the reason that you gave me freedom. You're the reason that combines all the silliness together. Like, they are so incredibly powerful, and they need to know that because they're the reason that I can keep walking the way I am.
Yeah.
It's representation in us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they probably say the same thing right back to you.
Oh, my girls.
Yeah.
I love them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, okay. Technically, I didn't ask yet, which I apologize.
Yeah.
Like, how would you categorize, like, where you are in, like, the pole and strip scene? Because you did mention you formally stripped. So
yeah.
Where do you feel like, explain, like, past and present kind of, like, labels or, like, whatever you want to, like, identify yourself for these spaces. So I can, like, appropriate also.
It's very interesting. That's a very interesting question that you ask. Because from the jump, it was stripping. I'm a stripper. I had no problem with it. But I feel like when you put like the business cap on things, that word is like reparations to people. It's like, whoa, you can't say that word. Like, that's definitely not appropriate. So navigating that is still very much a process for me. But it has to be the foundation. And I feel like from where I was in the past to where I am now, I don't feel like I would be healed enough to go back into the stripping world, back into the clubs, because I know what happened in those clubs. I know what happened in those undergrounds. So what I do to honestly hold on to a piece of that is when I find my sex workers friends, I game them up. Let me teach you things that you don't know, because stripping now is so much more safe than y'all realize. It's so much more safer. There are people that actually care about you. Like, people will come and fuck some shit up if you are fucked over at the club. Back in the day, somebody rob you, oh well. Somebody rape you, oh well. Police don't care, oh well. Yeah. It is what it is. So that prior world, that shit was scary. It was so scary. But do I wish that I could go back into the clubs right now and tear that shit up? I will be unstoppable because I have the business understanding of how to move, where you can't manipulate me. I'm not a product. What the fuck? I'm the prize. You got me all the way messed up. If I come in one night and I make thousands and thousands of dollars and I never show back up and you're blowing up my phone, I'm the product. Stop playing. You need me to make money. So if more people, whoever goes into strip club, if you could walk in with that ownership, nobody's ever going to be able to exploit you. But there's not enough knowledge with that information. So as I'm kind of growing into this new element of me, I have work that I'm also doing with the Black Panther leader on the side of that. So there's a whole different image that I'm also trying to obtain and also still hold true to the roots, because Elaine is also a former sex worker. It says it in her book, A Taste of Power. She talks about how she needed to do it for survival.
Yeah.
So if people can hear how it was turned into survival to then use in art, to then use to heal people, you have more respect in it. But as far as learning where I am right now, that past side of me, the stripping is done. In the clubs itself. Will I dance at queer fun parties when I need to? Of course, because it's safe and I control those environments. But when other people book me for certain events, I have to slowly start navigating. As a bisexual woman, I'm not dancing in straight parties. It's a whole bunch of different things that you gotta worry about when you're dealing with straight people. And that's just so to speak. I move differently, I walk differently, and I talk differently. And I'm more cautious. I'm more on my toes versus I'm more like relaxed and I don't have to worry about a lot of things, because in the queer community, there's certain things as far as respect and how we naturally move. It doesn't need to be talked about. We naturally know how to cater to each other. So in a perfect world, in a great world, if Oakland could get their city officials together, I would own a queer strip club. And that shit would be off the charts.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And if you're a pole dancer, that's not a space for you. It's a place for people using it to make money, because that's what stripping is. Simple as that. So as I navigate in this current day of who I am, you ask me, yep, I'm a stripper. And if you give me that, you're probably not the person I need to be around. But you're still gonna follow me. Why? Because you said it before. I'm vulnerable and I'm transparent and I'm gonna speak what I need to say. And something in your heart is gonna be like, damn, I judged her too quickly. You did. You absolutely did. You saw me, you saw what they categorized to be stripping, and that's it. Because people don't realize you don't have to have your clothes off to strip.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize this? It's an art form of movement and seduction. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're naked. It's just black women were so confident back in the day to say, you know what? I own and I love my shit. And this is after 400 years of being enslaved and having white folks look at you like you're a product. So if you can go from that little piece of you and feeling like you're nothing and then walk on and be like, bitch, you know you looking at me. That's why I don't know if you ever seen P-Valley.
I have.
Come on!
I have.
Now, have you seen Uncle Clifford's version of the P-Valley where he talks about, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like P-Valley the Underground. It's literally a documentary about the strippers. You see them on stage with a couple of clips from P-Valley, and then you see them talking about their life afterwards. And one of the girls was like, honestly, this is my place where I feel most powerful. I command the stage. I know that you're looking at me. And I soak that shit up. Because sometimes when I disappear, nobody knows who I am. And I was sitting there in tears.
Yeah.
Like, this is what people need to see. I wish that was like mandatory for all strip clubs.
Yeah.
That you could go to like a profile and figure out that's a human being, bro. So when you walk up in there and you want to be all drunk and misogynistic, check your shit. That's a human being, okay? That is someone doing this for the love and the joy. And who knows, there might not even be love and joy behind it. It might just be survival.
Yeah, exactly. All of that should be respected.
All of it has to be respected. Yeah, where you are, because of the pole dancing community, there's really now no respect for black girls when we go out there. It's either you have to do so much more than the other girls because they look perfect and they really don't have to do anything, so they expect you to pull your panties down. They expect you to go suck their dick outside. They expect you to do all of these things that belittle you because you're a black girl. I can throw you around and toss you around when I want to.
Yeah.
It's like your power is sucked dry from you. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. I do really like though the way you explained the way stripping is for black girls, which is being in your body. You don't even have to be naked. I think people, like you said, don't even realize that. I even like, it's something unconscious that I didn't even process.
Right.
So you putting it verbally, thank you.
It's an art form. Like, it's literally just movement. Like, if you look at, for instance, and it's funny because one of my friends way back in the day, she was like, but how are you stripping if there's no pole? Do you not see these beautiful shoes on my feet? It's a different form of stripping, honey. The floor work is still stripping, but you called it floor work now. So guess what you did? You erased the idea of where it comes from. Came from stripping. You just took a piece of stripping and created a whole nother class and say floor work.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's from the roots of it, and you have to honor that. And if you don't, then we're confused as we're looking at the descriptions. We're like, that's not for us. That's not for us. That's not for us. Because it's not.
Yeah. Yep. Which is why I made my thesis as stripping being the culture, but then becoming a subculture. It literally.
I love everything about you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's such a beauty. You make me want to go all the way back to school, but I can't. I have so much debt right now. I don't want to deal with any more of it. But that's so huge. Yeah.
And it's so ambiguous how, like, just even how it was a culture. Like, there's no information. I'm trying to find reputable sources as it's part of like my requirement.
Get, it's like going on Google and finding
My only source right now that I'm like getting is Instagram, which is crazy. Like, it's just like people. It's not even like, of course, like, it's people doing articles, but it's filtered. There's always going to be like...
It's not like you could pull up like a history book of like the origins of what art and pole dancing and stripping is.
Yeah.
God forbid, they're not going to show a black person.
No.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So how are you navigating that? Like, what are you finding on Instagram?
Well, so far, there's... I want to say, like, I'm trying to find hashtags and just like following people, like getting the connections, like doing like the web and the rabbit hole of people, looking at what they post, their highlights, you know, things like that. And then like my friend recently just posted like history of stripping and the roots of black women in stripping.
I think I remember that. Did Red Light Therapy put it on their page? I feel like.
I'm not sure, but it was like green kind of text.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
That was the first one I've ever saw, and I was like, oh my god.
Where it's just like it's trickled in there, here and there.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, like, is this kind of source like word of mouth? Is this more like, where do they have articles?
Right.
And like I feel like, well, not unfair, but like maybe it is.
Yeah,
in
it is.
Of like,
very much unfair.
Where word of mouth isn't reputable enough for like these kind of researchers, like researching, like, but what is there left? Because there's no recording.
Right.
Like, who is? It's gonna be the people in the culture, but they don't even have time for that. So it's like, how?
And then even like, I think even for someone like you, it must be interesting and confusing on how to navigate it, because it's not like black women are putting stripping on their page. We're not putting that on our Instagram profiles. So that's even another way to be like, how do I navigate that by not disrespecting this black woman, triggering this black woman?
Yes.
Because as I'm even going through to look, I'm looking at, okay, if you're a black pole instructor, were you a stripper before? Because if you're a stripper before, I'm in love with it. Your energy has not changed, and you can still see it in their movement. So I love a lot of Vegas strippers, because they are stripping currently for a career. Even if they became a pole instructor later on, the foundation and the understanding and the roots and the knowledge is within you. So you can attest and you can speak to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's just like my position, you know, as someone who's not black, you know, and I know, like, I just know it's from you guys.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, where can I get this information to prove it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, but also just like, how can I use my like privilege and my identities to be able to share this, you know, and educate and just make it more known, as it already should have been. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just grateful that at least I'm now vice pres of Buffalo.
Period.
And with that, oh my god, I'm so annoying.
You got some things cooked up, don't you?
I'm super annoying. I'm always like posting and talking like I'm always very political with like the way I speak, the way I announce things. If something's important to me, I understand the urgency that things need to be talked about. I'm gonna do it.
And all you're doing is creating conversation for other people to then also create those conversations. Yeah.
And to show people to not be afraid to ask a question. Just even that is so important. And like, of course, there's gonna be ignorance. I'm gonna be ignorant to things as well. I don't know everything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But just being able to push those people to ask, and me being able to correct and give that language is all
and I
that
think
matters.
that's the biggest piece, is to just receive it, to just listen to the other person's perspective. It doesn't have to be an argument back and forth, because the minute that it becomes an argument, that other party has shut down completely. They're not seeing, you haven't given room for that person to actually speak their truth behind it, because what you say has automatically overshadowed, because you're judging. You're completely judging them.
Exactly.
Okay, we got some stuff cooked up this year for you. I'm telling you, being an activist ain't easy, honey. I'll be exhausted. Okay, I'm going to the hot tub later tonight with my girlfriend.
There you go.
Oh my God. Wait. Okay. But this, honestly, this was the highlight of my day, to actually be able to speak my truth, hear myself back, because I'm going to go and watch these recordings and be like, wow, like, you're not having an anxiety attack. You're not crying. You didn't have to leave the room. Like, you're actually able to articulate your feelings. That's growth. And that came from stripping. That came from teaching and being able to just be like, this is who I am. You can either take me for who I am or get out of my face. It's as simple as that. Because if we don't show up like that, you're constantly making yourself smaller for other people. And that feels really shitty. And I felt like that before, where I'm like, I need to make room for them, because there's no room for me. Actually, there's way more room for me than you think. You just have to make that room for yourself.
Exactly. That's beautiful. As it should be.
With anybody. With anybody. Right. We're so quick to just put somebody in a category and tell them that you don't fit here because it's changed in some modern sense, but wait a second, you're new. I've been doing this for years. Just because you think I want to move a different way, I'm honoring where it came from.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And that doesn't always float with everybody, is what I'm realizing. That's, I feel like, the hardest part to it is like really navigating to figure out the louder that I am, who's going to be by me? Like, who's really going to be by Black female dancers when we're really going through things? And I'll give you an example. If we get discriminated against, or I'll give you a better example, personal example. I was cyberbullied just recently. Very, very aggressively. Fascist MAGA Trump supporter, okay, attacked my personal page on my fitness page. It eventually trickled over into my pole page. Certain people who were very unaware of what was going on and me even trying to take care of my energy as a Black woman and love myself, I had a lot of companies who supported me in the pole community disappear. Because of the comments that were left on my page. But wait a second, fast forward to 2025. The motherfucker that's sitting in the fucking Oval Office that we created, okay, and died trying to create that fucking white ass house. We're sitting here, people are getting cyberbullied every single day. So wait a second. When I needed you last year to fight by my side, when I was struggling, I didn't know who I was because I'm waking up to, you're a man, go kill yourself. The N-word. Like, these are people coming on my personal pole page attacking me. I'm trying to find myself. If you're gonna rock with Black people, rock with us all the way. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't just stand by my side because you see, oh, Zahra is a great figure for the pole community, but when Zahra is down and really needs you, the people who are the loudest have always been the loudest. Shout out to everybody at Atomic Allure, Oakland Pole and Dance, and Flux Vertical, because you know who you are, period. They were loud for me because I went into a hole. Trying so hard to re-find myself and all these beautiful communities that I had put my body out on. That's why it hit me so deep. I put my body on your platform, you used my image, and then when shit got bad, you just tossed me out the fucking door. My body is out there. My physical body is out there. And you could care less because all you care about is business. We're not seeing each other as human beings anymore. We're just replaceable things. And it's like, this is why we're so incredibly divided, very specifically in just the pole community. You forget that that Black woman who's actually in the back of that corner in an all-white studio is terrified in that space because she's trying to find herself again. But there's nobody in that space that's telling her, be you. Love yourself, and this is for you. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, and I'm still going through it. You can look at my Instagram still to this day. All my comments are off. That is to protect me.
Yeah. Because
at one point I said, damn, like, this is too much for me. But I started to kind of use some of those comments on there. Like, one person was like, is this a man? Are you trans? I was like, did you not realize that trans is the staple of our entire world right now? They are activists in our community. And I align so incredibly deeply with them because I'm masculine and feminine, bitch. What's up? Yeah. You sound stupid now saying that. That's how you gotta start checking people versus we're ready to be like, Twitter fingers. Your mama's a bitch. What does that solve? What does that actually solve? I will come to people who have problems with me and I'll be like, I pray for you. Because I genuinely pray for your spirit because you're fucked up in the head. Like, you are really fucked up in the head to not like me. But to use everything in my culture. Make it make sense. We have to change the way that we react to people who react with anger. Because if you know you're a very healed spirit and you're trying to navigate this world and be a strong representation, and this is even advice for you, if people come for your community, don't bite back. Feed knowledge into them.
Yes.
Make them feel dumb for not picking up a fucking book and not understanding the history. Because once people start realizing that, you slowly start to change people's minds to be like, oh wait, she's not gonna like bite back. I can't just go toe to toe with her. I'm not gonna allow that.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I'll read you a book real quick. Do you want some knowledge? Okay. What's the topic of the day? Like, we could do this all day if you really wanted to, because you're intelligent human beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. But
Yeah.
also, I think you already touched on this, but you also said, like, just learning when to step back as well.
Child. Child. Can tell you, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, I go back to saying, we feel like we have to solve the world's problems. But I have even put myself on a limit just with the idea of Instagram this year because I have to step back and step away. I post what I need to post and I put intention with it. You probably only see one post every other day because I think about what I'm trying to put on there. And when I put all that energy on there and then I'm healing in the pole studios, I retreat very, very quickly because I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. I'm taking what I've built up in the morning and trying to intentionally heal others. And if you don't step away and say, Black woman, rest is power. Because the more that I rest, I'm thinking clearer. This is like, I knew something was gonna happen this year. I just didn't know what it was. Like, I felt like I died last year. I literally physically died. I struggled when I was in PSO because of my ancestral trauma there. I was exploited in different communities, discriminated in different pole studios, lost a whole bunch of friends, trying to understand what is going on. And then this year, my community was like, be loud. And that's all I've been doing. And it's been working over and over again. People are giving me stages to just speak. I'm still trying to figure out how I can get my sex workers together in a very safe way, because you can't just go out there and put a fucking flyer that says sex workers come over here and have a fucking picnic. Because you're putting them in danger. Like, you have to really think about the things that you do. So the more rest, the more intentional I am. And I'm taking my time with my people because I need you guys to know I need these spaces just as much as you do. I can't just talk about my past with anybody. There's so much like judgment behind it. So I just shut up and I don't talk about it until I'm around my other sex workers or allies that have sex worker friends and they understand where I'm coming from.
Exactly. Yes, that's super important.
Yeah.
Being able to take care of yourself to take care of others as well.
Yep.
But also making that space for yourself.
Very much so.